Well, let's go down, everybody. Time for another YouTube recap. What do we get into today? Like always, starting out here in the X. This morning's calls were pretty easy ones. Coming up to 18,674, looking for a good far of the push, right? So we had a couple early targets, had some green starts right there. Pretty simple. On the way back up, you can see that NQ had a little bit of a fresh low breakdown holding above VWAP here, and we did leave some algos open up here, so we did need to pop up and close for the pre-market. So that's why I did a lot of my trading this morning. P&L locked in on the trade calls. Nice. A little example of our live trading if you want to take a peek at our X there, as we do narrate and trade this stuff every single day. So let's get into what we've seen for the dip to rip. So our thesis, our call, let me get the big shard down here, was pop to or drop to pop, dip to rip. Okay, so we had our sentiment for dip to rip here this morning, and as I posted in my Discord many times for my friends here, I was just going over a whole bunch that we are not going to hold a gap up. So every single time you've seen it come over yesterday's highs, which is this orange dashed line right here, get ready for a short, because there is no way we are holding a gap and go, because our systems were telling us that we definitely were not going to. So now with that oscillation indicator here at the pre-market to open dump, we needed a back test here. Half candle retrace, and we got it. So this is our half candle retrace, which means the body of a candle like this, right? Wick and wick, the halfway point, 50%, is the retrace point. So if you're under yesterday's close, comes down to the 50 of the candle. Okay, I'll give you a hint right there. So a lot of things happen in the 50% of the market. Now, when we see the dip here at the open, comes all the way down, half candle retrace, tags right here. We got to code it in with this orange dash line to the penny and rips up, right? So we took the downside here at the open. You can see the MACD doing a swap right here, right? So the 5-minute MAC was showing weakness, 745, 8, 815, and we're kind of rolling towards the open. So shorted everything at the open, rode the down side there for the dip, missed the V entry. We had a couple different counter trend scalps here near the 10 SMA, which was fantastic. And then we called the push back up. Now, the last but not least here is funny because we have a target of 454.38, and that's where I wanted to go short on for Qs. And I missed this one. It's by a little bit here. You can see it tag right into the penny, the 1618, and boy, was that a fat one. She snapped down beautifully. And then we did create some fair value gaps that we ended up using today. We didn't have a whole lot on the old chart, but these fair value gaps on the 5-minute ended up working out pretty well. So this fair value gap and this one filled right away, obviously, and the other was right here. And we've seen that push back up, and we called short to the fair value gap fill. So as you were coming into the 161, that was our long target for the day. And then the next long target is the 100 EMA on the daily chart on QQQ. That comes in at 455.89. I still think we're going to grind up there a little bit, but this terrible miss by me. I'm a little sad about it, but 454.38 was my short. It made it to 454.37, put in the gnarliest red candle, and away she went. So no big deal there, but we picked up the long on the backside. So we got the fair value gap fill, and then she bounced back up. So we were talking about this fair value gap on the way back in. So up to the short, down, filled, long. Okay. And now we're still looking long for the continued scam up on two different pieces here, okay? Because we do have another fair value gap, obviously, with this gnarly candle on the downside, and we do need to fill back up there. It's almost there. You can see a little sliver missed there at 453.61. So it will come back up there. It'll scam up here, push one more little higher high, and then we actually might come down. We have another fair value gap right here, and I do think we deserve some confirmational moving average back test before she goes actually higher. So what I mean by that is confirmation. So when you get a slip candle like that, and she washes everything that blew past the 100 EMA, came back up, the 200 SMA and 100 EMA, which we are looking for on the dump for targets, that was our T1 here, VWAP and the 200, becomes a back testable event because it washed it, broke through it, and we don't have a back test for confirmational high or low support. So a back test in price action right now, it's thinking about it. It's in consolidation right here, and it's only thinking about it because we have to come back up and fill this fair value gap that we had just talked about, because she's just not quite fill yet. So this gap in between this wick and this wick here, you can see it push, shied the top, right? Didn't quite hit it right there, missed it. And now we are in consolidation mode for what gap are we going to finish first, right? So you got your fair value here that is unfilled. Then you got one that is the big one for the red candle, and we got that little tiny miss that it didn't get to right here. So which one are we going to get to first? That's what you're trying to decide. So right now, the top of the RSI is kind of holding, and it's just jerking around. Worst case scenario is afternoon trading, chop, chop, chop. You never want to trade through this stuff. It's garbage. So is it going to come back down and fill that fair value gap support and then push higher to here and then continue on to that 100 EMA squeeze? That's what we hope. So right now, you're looking for any kind of short scalp area here where that fair value gap would hit the finishing fill, come back up, maybe double top of the day, come back down one more time and hit and go. Potential. We'll see. If not, we're going to have a best case scenario, which is something where you'd see the fair value gap here fill first, finding support, finding the back test we just talked about for confirmation, and then leading higher back up. So the better trade would be the long first here for price action to come down. You could take that long, come back up here and have a stellar day with that. So we did have some of the anchors coming in here. So we'll go over some of these anchors, what we did today on Qs. We had a dip to rip, and then we just had a live anchor, back test, and tag. So one really big takeaway here is we had low a day anchor, and this is one of the ones that we wanted to see fill, right, for that up piece. So he came up to that 161, which we had called. And then we needed to see this breakdown from there and come down to the anchor. And where do we get those anchors? Well, the high low of day is generally where I like to see the anchors. So we have a low a day anchor in the green here, and that's a no tag, which what that means is you put an anchor on the candle, the VWAP starts to calculate up, but the price action runs away and we don't get any tags of price action to the anchor, right? There's a gap there. There's nothing there. So that is generally telling you that eventually when the short appears, we will slam down into the anchor, right? And then the back testable one, which was confirmational biased on the anchor, was also interesting today. If we put this one to the high, this is high a day, right? So this is how we start our anchors in the morning here. We got this anchor here, high, this anchor, low. But what happens in a scenario of, again, backtest confirmation battling with the price action with the anchors? What does it look like? Well, we have the low we're not worried about, right? Because the price action ran away. And we called long right here to this anchor. And then this anchor became below out, right? So we broke out of this anchor. Now, what do we look for? Again, backtest confirmation. So this was actually two different very strong anchors telling you that a short was going to be coming after a resistance was tagged. Well, lo and behold, we had the resistance picked to the penny, 454.38. Even though it was a missed trade, we caught the other side. This is okay. Still a fat trade day, but regardless, that is how those anchors work. So those anchors at the high and low, when price action blew through them, we had a higher percent chance to come back down, test said anchors. Now, once those are done, you can move your anchors because we got tags from this giant red candle, and you can move these over to low a day, see if we get any tags. There's another no low. So this is your next trade with the fair value gap we just talked about with anchor lining up. So again, so earlier part of the video, we just talked about this fair value gap. Going for that fill, right? And your short, right? Short scalp up here is going to be looking for that anchor. Well, look where that anchor comes in, right? So if we get some speed to the downside right here, that fair value gap and that anchor are going to come in very near the same spot. So we're more or less expecting that lower high to push back down, poof, and then again, looking for that continuation, potentially 100 EMA. So we're going to watch this lower high play out. We got the MACD sliding a little bit here. We got really good volume to the downside. You can see how weak this indecision is on the MACD. You're going light green, dark green, light green, dark green. It's not a strong, deep green trend like this guy here, where we're stacking the same colors on the histogram, making sure that we have a very strong uptick push, right? So working out very well. This indecision is weakness. So we're going to see a breakdown soon here, right? And as we're talking about it, we're obviously seeing it right here. So best case scenario, like we said on the first part, we're going to see the lower high fail, dip by anchor, dip by fair value gap, go long back to this fair value gap that still has the pennies, right? That's the best case scenario, right? So you're short right now, coming back in, and you roll up, and you're going to watch this play out for the rest of the day, and there's probably a really good chance that the sucker is going to hit. So with that being said, those are all of our markers for today and how we predicted the market. If you want to trade live with us, we do this every morning, the narration every single morning. We talk ourselves through the trades. I post all of my trades on the Discord, positionals, averages, all the good stuff for everybody to see. And we narrate these trades start to finish. And if you find any value in these YouTube videos or want to trade with us, we have links in the description for Apex funded trading accounts. We do help traders through those and Top Step. And we also have our link to our website. So check us out if you want to come trade with us in our premium Discord. We post way more plays than a couple of freebies on Twitter, obviously. So, and we give out a huge analytic for the rest of the day for the market. We trade the first couple hours live. So if that sounds appealing to you, stop on by. If not, see you on the next video.